Welcome to Designer Discussions with Miriam, Maria, and Jason. Today, we're going to be talking about your marketing and PR plan for 2025. Welcome to the Designer Discussions podcast with
Jason,
Miriam,
and Maria, where we talk about marketing, PR, and business advice for design professionals.
hello everyone, and happy New Year's yet again. As you know, we do this every year where we set you up for the new year on the marketing and the PR side. So we help to have you have a plan of action for the year. I won't repeat what I said in 2022 and 2023. What I'm going to say is reference those two episodes because we actually went over a plan. So what I did in 2022, I did a reverse engineer of the outcome. So based on what you want to make at the end of the year, you can determine how many leads you need from that. So I did a whole exercise on that in 2022. So listen to that episode, which is the episode 24. So listen to episode 24. And then if you listen to episode 76, I did an expansion on that for helping you plan throughout the year once you know what the goal is. So I'm not going to reiterate or go back over any of that information. So in terms of this year, once you have all of that ironed out, and even though, and I emphasize this all the time, if you have not heard this enough, knowing your ideal client avatar, in those episodes, I also referenced about the client avatar workbook that we have on our website. So head there so you can download the free workbook on the client avatar so you can iron that out. Once you've ironed that out, now you can do the exercise where you reverse engineer what you want to make at the end of the year so you know how many leads that you have. So now what I'm going to talk about is once you know how many leads you want, how do you find those leads to help get the jobs that you want? And this is one of the trends also is website optimization. So optimizing your website is going to be vital for this year because with all that's happening around AI, making sure that your website is up to date, it has your most relevant projects and the content on your site is actually relevant for your end user and your ideal client. That's going to help you attract the right type of prospects that you're looking for. If you look at the show notes, I might actually have a graphic that has all of the elements that you should have on a website in terms of the navigation, your contact information, having a number at the top, relevant images, social media icons, all of this. So I might have a graphic. So look in the show notes so you can get access to that, or you can head to the website and see this information. But all of this information you should have on your website. And this will help you attract the right type of clientele, the right type of prospects to you. And also tying into website, Google Business Profile. Now, you've heard me talk about this in the past as well, but even more so, making sure that you're actually treating your Google Business Profile like a social media platform where you're actually posting to it regularly. So at least 2 to 3 times a month, you should be adding in new projects, adding in what's happening if you either hired any new employees, if you did any type of community service, if you're doing anything for your clients that's out of the ordinary, like your processes or anything like that. If you're showcasing any of that, you should have that on your website, but also on your Google Business Profile. Because with your Google Business Profile, that's how you end up in the maps area. So with SEO and your website, that's how you end up in the organic, and then with maps, and then with Google Business Profile, that's how you end up with maps. So in search, at the top, you have the ads, which only 20% click on the ads. 80% either click on maps or the organic search. So that's where you want to be, and how you get there is, like I said, through optimizing website, optimizing Google Business Profile. I'm going to hand it to Miriam so she could talk about the PR side, and then afterwards I'll add some other things on after that.
Okay, good advice, Jason. Thank you. I'll talk a little bit about different ways you can approach your PR for the planning for the new year. And as you guys know, the way we look at PR here on Designer Discussions, it's not necessarily a tool to get you all the publicity to make you rich and famous, but we really look at it more as a tool to support the rest of your marketing in a holistic way. And thinking about it that way, there's always three pillars to what I recommend. The first one is the reactive PR, which really includes what used to be Haro. It's these short-term media requests that you can easily plug into and get coverage from very quickly on digital platforms. The second one is to get actual projects or interviews, profiles featured in publications, and this can ideally be in print, but it could also be online. And then the third one is like the bonus one where you do all kinds of events or speaking engagements or broadcast or other things, which that's usually not something we even get to. So let's focus on the basics, which is my most favorite thing to do and which is what is most effective for honestly 99% of all the businesses of all sizes that I have ever worked with in my quarter century of doing PR. So I would say, number one, just think about, do you have an appetite? Do you have resources to do PR? Okay, it's like everybody wants to do PR in theory, but not everybody really is committed to doing it. And so I just really encourage you to take a step back and say, and you can say, okay, I want the media coverage, but do you want the work that comes with it? Because it's going to require some work. So that's a fundamental decision you're going to have to make. And let's just assume you say, yes, you actually do. And maybe this is the year one where you want to do some PR and you have never done it before. And next year this year, when this is going to air actually, is the best time to start. So if you do that, there's a few things I would encourage you to focus on. Number one, definitely make photography a priority. And this will help you not just for your PR, but for your marketing overall. And when I say photography, I mean professional photography, right? So if you are serious about getting published, you're going to need professional grade photography. So plan for that, ideally budget for it. Think about what types of projects you have in the pipeline that deserve to be photographed, plan the money, plan the time, find the right photographer. Make sure you have professional images that you can use for media coverage, because there's not none, but there's very few magazines out there by now that actually will be able to come in and shoot your project, even if it's a tier one, fantastic, spectacular project that you have. So make sure you have photography. The second one is, and this is actually a little different from what I usually recommend. Ideally, I always say PR should be a continuous activity. It's something that you should build into your routine so it can really become part of your mindset and part of your calendar. So ideally, I would like for you to schedule time every week or at least every couple of weeks, whatever works with your schedule. Ideally, it should be on a continuous basis, but you have dedicated time where you say, okay, I'm going to be doing PR. And the number one thing I say is sign up for Source of Sources, which is the new platform that used to be Haro. It's the founder. We have a couple of episodes where we're talking about this because there has been a lot of change in 2024 in how these platforms have changed. But if you do one thing, sign up for Source of Sources. And it's a free platform. You get emails every day, and it'll give you those media opportunities that you can easily plug into and submit for. We have a number of tutorials that will show you how to do this. So do that. And maybe, the whole year, that's a lot to ask for. Maybe that's not what you want to do. And we've actually, in our academy just last year, had pretty spectacular successes with people who just plugged in, like pretty short term. I'd say maybe take 3 months and say, okay, these are going to be my 3 months where I'm going to be doing PR, and I'm going to dedicate 2 to 3 hours every week. We have had a member in the academy, and they walked away after the first month with 3 placements, which is really unheard of. Like if you can end up with 1 placement every month, you're doing really pretty well. If you end up with 6 to 10 placements over the course of the year, that's also pretty good. But it is possible to really sort of have this burst of energy for PR and do it for however long. Maybe you do it for 2 months. If you end up with 5 placements after 2 months, maybe you take a break. But so see what works for you. Are you more somebody who likes to plug in continuously, or are you more somebody who needs like a specific goal short term and say, I'm going to focus on this. Is this what I'm going to do? So I think there are those 2 options, definitely. Then the next step, if you want to bolster your media portfolio further, I'd say do pick 1, maybe 2 projects for the year that you're going to have professionally photographed that you will be pitching to a magazine. That's like the next level. And if this is your first year, that might not be the year you want to do it. But if you have been in the PR game for a while and you have not been properly published, not just with expert mentions, but with actual photography that shows one of your projects, that's something else that I would encourage you to plan out. And we also do have content on the podcast that goes more into detail about doing that. So those are the 3 things I would say. It's like focus on your photography, dedicate time to doing the short-term reactive pitches, and think about pitching a project of yours.
Awesome. And the last thing I want to talk about on the marketing side, which I will do a whole podcast on this, is using edutainment as an aspect of your content creation. And what edutainment is that it's actually creating content that educates and entertains. And so we're going to do a whole podcast just on that topic. But that's a buzzword now that's getting out there for 2025, edutainment. That should be an aspect of the type of content that you create, whether it's written, whether it's in video, whether it's on social media. However, having to create that type of content is going to help set you apart from your competition. So be looking out for that podcast, because I'm going to just have one just on how you create edutainment type content.
These are all our tips for planning for marketing and PR for 2025. If you are doing your own marketing and PR and you're looking for some additional training and for some accountability, we encourage you to check out our Designer Discussions Academy, which is our coaching program for marketing and PR for design and remodeling business. Check it out on designerdiscussions.com.
Did you know that your client learns 80% of what they will know about you before they ever contact you? Now imagine when your potential client searches for the perfect kitchen remodel. Will they find you or your competition? We can help you make sure it's you. Our Designer Discussions Academy membership with your favorite podcast hosts provide weekly steps to simplify your marketing and boost your business. Sign up at designerdiscussions.com or follow the link in the show notes. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Designer Discussions and all of the helpful information. Subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. We look forward to having you back next week. For more information on the podcast and the marketing studio, visit designerdiscussions.com and follow us on social media.